The system assigned me to redeem the villain. So I started playing the female lead's part, delivering meals to him every single day. It hadn't been long before he showed up at my door. His expression a complicated mix of suspicion and confusion. "What did I do to offend you?" he asked. "What exactly are you trying to pull?" I blinked. "Ha! I'm trying to redeem you." Just then, a series of glowing lines scrolled rapidly across my vision. The rice ball made by this side character tastes like it was kneaded under a construction worker's armpit after a full day's labor. Correction. It's not that fragrant. After eating this weirdo's experimental cuisine, the villain suddenly discovered that life is full of little joys. He stopped going dark, stopped going Super Saiyan rage mode, and started embracing the world with a heart full of forgiveness. Oh, just say it. Was he redeemed or not? And there I was, still trying to shove a pork belly and strawberry rice ball into his hand, completely frozen. Welcome to History channel. Subscribe to follow all our latest adventures. Story begins. During morning study hall, I stared at my deskmate, Elton Wasserman, who was fast asleep with his head buried in his arms. I couldn't stop thinking. Last night, a system had bound itself to me. Yes, that kind of system. And it told me, Elton Wasserman was destined to become a tragic villain in the future. A fallen king with a miserable end. But if I could change his fate? The system would reward me with $10 million. Sensing my gaze, Elton stirred. He lazily lifted his head and locked eyes with me, frowning slightly. "Why do you keep staring at me?" I quickly looked away, flustered. The thing was, Elton Wasserman was genuinely good-looking. Raven black wolf-cut hair, pale cool-toned skin, those long slightly upturned eyes that always looked vaguely dangerous. But that face? Always so fierce. Even though we'd shared a desk for half a month, we'd barely exchanged a word. I was a little scared of him, honestly. A guy like him, if he ever snapped, could probably punch through a 20-meter steel plate. But then again, boys are boys till the day they die, right? By that logic, there are no truly grown men in this world. That comforting thought gave me courage. I reached into my backpack and pulled out a still warm rice ball. "Hey, did you skip breakfast? You can have this." I'd binged several redemption novels the night before, and all the heroines had one thing in common. They warmed the villain's cold, jaded heart with food. Elton Wasserman had lost his parents young, was stuck living with a gambling uncle, and worked shady part-time jobs every night just to get by. He probably hadn't eaten anything this delicious in a long, long time. He looked at the rice ball in his hand, then up at my goofy, sincere smile. He froze for a moment, then let his eyes fall. The corners of his lips twitched faintly. "Thanks." He unwrapped the paper. As I watched him expectantly, he took a bite. And then, his pupils shrank like he'd just been tasered. Ugh! I panicked. What happened? Is it bad? His eyes flicked between me and the rice ball like he was seeing a ghost. His Adam's apple bobbed visibly as he forced it down with effort. "Did you actually eat this before?" he asked, voice hoarse. "Of course," I said, puzzled. My parents worked late, so ever since I'd started school in the city, my mom made batches of rice balls every week, froze them, and told me to heat one up each morning. This one had dragon fruit, beef, and cilantro. Protein, vitamins, fiber. It was a complete nutritional bomb. It's my favorite. Sweet and salty, with that fresh zing of cilantro. "You don't like it?" I sounded a little disappointed. He took a deep breath. His lips twitched into a strange, forced smile. "No, it's good. I just choked on it, that's all." "Really?" I narrowed my eyes at him. He nodded solemnly. "Then eat up. I'll watch you eat. Hee hee." He opened his mouth like he wanted to say something, but ended up swallowing his words. Under my eager stare, he eventually finished the whole thing with a complicated expression on his face. For some reason, I felt a deep connection spark between us. Which was weird. Growing up, no one ever wanted to eat at my house. During school field trips, when we had to bring homemade food, my teacher just told me to try and stay alive. Once when I was in 3rd grade, I found a nearly dead stray puppy. I made a warm bowl of rice and veggies just for him. After eating it, he suddenly sprang up and bolted straight into the mountains. Even my dad, on a motorcycle, couldn't catch him. I beat myself up for weeks over it. But now I know. That had nothing to do with the food. Totally unrelated. Anyway, I'll make a few more rice balls for Elton tomorrow. Hehe. Recess. Some scruffy-looking guy from the class next door swaggered up to Elton Wasserman. Bro, there's a fight going down downstairs. Come on, come back me up. I frowned at the guy's neon green hair, which practically radiated like radioactive moss. He was all tattoos and swagger. I jabbed Elton with my pen and whispered, "Hey, if you don't go fight, I'll bring you another rice ball tomorrow." Elton, who'd been practically comatose just moments before, sprang to his feet like a man possessed. "Bro, lead the way." He pushed past me in a hurry, marching toward the door like a soldier headed for war. And then he stopped, clenched his butt, let out a small hiss, then stiffly sat back down in his chair. For some reason, his expression looked unusually fragile. "Never mind," he muttered. "Something just came up." Green hair looked at him, baffled. "Dude, what the hell?" My bro's getting jumped, and I ran over mid-bowel movement, pants barely on, just to get you. Now that's loyalty. Elton grabbed a crumpled test paper from under the desk and waved it lazily. "Quit yapping. I've got questions to ask my deskmate. Maybe you should learn something too." Green hair? I grinned and patted myself on the back. Saving a wayward youth? All it took was a rice ball. Dr. Shen strikes again with the healing hands of redemption. I gave Elton a thumbs up. "Don't worry, I've got this covered." And then, a line of glowing text flickered across my vision. "Don't worry," she says. Famous last words. I blinked. It disappeared. I didn't think too much of it. Hallucinations were normal for sleep-deprived seniors, after all. Friday's pop quiz had questions I'd just tutored him on. We'd made a deal. If he got them right, I'd reward him with a luxury-grade rice ball. But when the results came out, I stared at his disaster of a test paper, brows tightening in disbelief. Without a word, I headed downstairs. Found him brawling in the grove behind the school. I drifted toward him like a ghost, voice soft as mist. "Elton, get up. Time to go over the quiz." Ever since I realized he never snapped at girls, I'd stopped being afraid of him. He looked up, stunned. "Seriously? You see me throwing hands here and think this is study time?" Someone whistled in the background, followed by laughter and jeers. "Yo, Elton. You got a real strict household, huh?" The tips of his ears flushed red. He stepped toward me, awkwardly scratching his head, voice low. "Cut it out, we're outside. Don't embarrass me. We can talk later, okay?" I looked him dead in the eye, like I was staring at a walking $10 million check. No can do. Mistakes must be corrected and digested immediately. "Elton Wasserman, you're my top priority right now." I rose on tiptoe and gently ruffled his hair. "No more fighting, okay? I get worried." It was like a bolt of lightning had struck him. He froze. His long, dark eyes widened ever so slightly. Color bloomed from his neck up to his ears. My mom always touched stray cats like this. Even the wildest street cat would flop over for belly rubs after a few strokes from her. I tried to remember her exact technique. I scratched under his chin, voice wooden and stiff. "Good boy. Who's mama's little treasure, huh?" Elton bent forward, panting a little, dazed eyes glazed over. In the middle of all the WTFs erupting around us, I led him, docile as a lamb, to a bench. I whipped out the rice ball I'd prepared with care. "Here, eat while we review. My mom made this one herself. You're in for a treat, ha ha ha." "Elton?" He came back to his senses slowly, eyes locking on the inky black mass in his hand. His smile twitched, frozen on his face. He opened his mouth like he wanted to say something, then gave up. With a sigh of deep resignation, he began chewing like a man condemned. From the ground, one of the other boys groaned. Elton, are you still gonna hit me? If not, can I go back to class now? Elton stared into the void, then lazily waved him off. I watched the whole thing, feeling incredibly pleased with myself. I was just about to jot something down in my notes when the words flashed again. At this point, the villain is still too soft-hearted. He'd rather eat crap than crush the side character's fragile feelings. Poor kid. Who's even the villain anymore? This girl's got him cornered. Not gonna lie, that rice ball looks kinda good. I wanna try it, drooling face. I froze. Rubbed my eyes. Nothing more appeared. Maybe I really was hallucinating from exhaustion. After that day, I, along with my ever-present rice balls, clung to Elton Wasserman like a pair of persistent ghosts. I was in charge of feeding his soul. The rice balls? His body. There were several times when he looked like he had something to say, his face turning red as if holding something back. But every time he met my honest, simple-minded smile, he'd let out a complicated sigh, and chew on, defeated. Over the course of a month, his face grew rounder, softer. He looked peaceful, even. Once, the guy sitting behind us accidentally stepped on his foot. The poor kid turned white as a sheet, certain he was about to be dragged into a bathroom and beaten senseless. But Elton only gave him a benevolent look. Did it hurt? You okay? His eyes held the gentle forgiveness of a man who'd been through life's storms and come out wiser. No one tried to drag him into fights anymore. His old gang of bros had basically disowned him. We agreed we'd hit the streets after graduation and make it big. But you? You're doing homework now? You're a lost cause. Get out of here. Then came the monthly exam. He jumped over 200 places in the rankings. To celebrate, I got up extra early to make him a deluxe, family reunion rice ball. When I placed the nearly 5-pound monster of a rice ball in front of him with a solid thunk, Elton froze. He looked so happy, he was trembling. What's this red stuff, he asked. My grandaunt's homemade pickled radish, I beamed. And the blue thing? Oh, that's fermented melon. Looks like cat poop, I know, but it's great. And the yellow? Durian paste mixed with pork belly. And this mysterious black? Black garlic. You've never had it. I peeled it open and held it out to him, full of pride. Just then, the guy in front turned around, pinching his nose. Jesus! Who crapped their pants? Another kid popped his head over from behind. Monica Simmons. Did you bring a latrine with you? I swear, this scent hits harder than coffee. Let me get another whiff. Yes, that's the stuff. I rolled my eyes. Oh, come on. That sourness is appetizing. Can't you see Elton's so hungry he's gone pale? Come on, eat it while it's hot. Elton's pupils shrank. He leaned back, forcing a smile, hands waving in panic. No, no, no. You've been helping me study so much, you should have it. I made 2, I replied triumphant. We're practically family now, don't be shy, it's yours. He slapped his thigh, then covered his face like a man on the verge of breaking. No, I mean it. I'm not hungry. Liar. I've been spying on you all morning. You only had that one free soup from the cafeteria. Faced with my relentless insistence, Elton's once refined expression collapsed in on itself. After a long pause, he took a deep breath, like he was preparing for death, and whispered cautiously. Monica? Do you think your rice balls taste just a tiny bit different? I blinked. What did he mean? I took a bite myself. Layers of flavor. Perfectly balanced texture. Tasted great to me. I scratched my head, about to ask for clarification, when suddenly, the world blurred, and glowing text flooded my vision. Villain's internal OS. Please stop trying to redeem me. The rice ball tastes like it was kneaded under a sweaty armpit after 12 hours of manual labor. Nah, it's not that fragrant. But hey, he ate it and suddenly saw beauty in life. Sounds like redemption to me. Girl with weird taste. You told me to redeem him. I did. Don't ask how to. Forget the taste, color, or smell. Nutritionally, these things work. The villain's been gaining weight. Villain might be adapting though. He even asked for more yesterday after finishing his worksheet. But today's is just too hardcore. What are y'all whining about? Gimme one. Drools. Me? Me. Oh God. My face burned so hot I thought I might spontaneously combust. Silently, I pulled the rice ball back. I wanted to punch myself unconscious right then and there. Elton peeked at me nervously. Monica. I smiled with all the dignity I could gather. Guess you don't really like it. That's fine. I was still hungry anyway. No. I just wanted to ask. It's okay. I cut him off. Don't make this weird. He scratched awkwardly at his fingers, lowered his head onto the desk, and peeked at me through his fingers. I sat there, paralyzed, trying to come to terms with the shocking possibility that I might actually be bad at cooking. My internal world was crumbling when a familiar lazy voice floated down from above. Yo! Monica Simmons. Why've you been ignoring me lately? Elton Wasserman, who had been slouched over his desk moments ago, suddenly lifted his head and looked over. It was Darren Gorman, my childhood friend from the same village. We grew up together like siblings. But after middle school, his parents took him to the city to chase opportunity, and they actually caught it. Made money. And Darren? Forgot his roots. Last month, I went to his class to ask him out for a bowl of spicy pepper soup, a comfort food for homesick souls like us. He pretended not to know me. Said he already had brunch plans with the class belle, Lily Whitelock. Then he dropped the bomb, told me not to act like a rural Klingon. Just like that, he wasn't my dada anymore, and I wasn't his little Momo. Come on, he said now, resting his elbow on my desk and leaning in with a grin. That day, you had to ask me that in front of Cece? I'm trying to chase her. What did you expect? Don't be mad, Lil Momo, talk to me, yeah? Elton Wasserman sat up straight without a word. His long black eyes stared quietly at Darren, fingers tapping against the desk with thinly veiled irritation. And the bullet comments began flying. He's here. That's the heroine Lily Whitelock. Villain falls for her at first sight, but he's too self-conscious to confess. Years later, he comes back successful and takes her. Don't be fooled by how calm the villain looks. He's already calculating how many teeth Darren Gorman will have left after school. Y'all missed it, but yesterday when the side character's hair brushed his face during nap time, he froze like a statue. His face was bright red. Top-tier fluster. I stared at the comments, stunned. Wait. What does top-tier fluster mean? His face was kind of red yesterday after nap time. Maybe he's allergic to my shampoo? Darren leaned even closer. Still giving me the silent treatment? Really mad, huh? Not really. My dad always said, the moment you care what someone thinks of you, you're basically their underwear. You're the one catching their crap while they get to walk off clean. No thanks. I lowered my head and focused on my workbook. Not mad. Class is starting soon. You should go. He clicked his tongue, annoyed. All right already. If you keep acting like this, you're not even cute anymore. Fine, I'll go with you to eat that weird soup, okay? Don't know why you're obsessed with that peasant slop anyway. I stopped writing and looked at him calmly. Dada, I said. You ungrateful little backstabber. Don't talk to me. His face turned red. He leaned in, teeth clenched, and hissed. You said my nickname. You psycho witch. You just want to ruin me because you can't have me, is that it? His eyes landed on the rice ball beside my hand. He snatched it up with a sneer. Still making pig food for yourself? You should try Cece's cupcake sometime. Soft and sweet, just like her. You're clumsy, pudgy, and... Before he could finish, a hand shot out like lightning and grabbed him by the collar. The bullet comments exploded. Villain finally snapped. Can't hold back the jealous rage anymore. Fight, 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 forget the calm act. He's swinging for the girl now. Y'all think he cares about the heroine? Yesterday his face turned red when her hair touched him. But today he's throwing hands over a rice ball. Let's be real. I ducked and scrambled to the seat behind mine to avoid friendly fire. Darren stumbled forward from the force, then glared up at Elton. You crazy? This shirt's Balenciaga. You gonna pay for tearing it? Elton's face darkened. His brows furrowed. He looked down at Darren with cold, venomous eyes. Then he spoke, and every single student turned to stare at him in shock. That rice ball is a reward for my deskmate. Who the hell told you to touch it? His voice was low, words sharp and distinct. You wanna die or what? Me? Darren tried to wriggle free, but couldn't. His face turned awkward. Her family's cooking is legendary in the sticks, but what's your problem? There was rustling above. I looked up just in time to see Elton snatch the rice ball from Darren's hand. He unwrapped it and took a huge bite. He puffed out his cheeks, chewing hard. Delicious. Love it. Deskmate, please reward me more often. Me. The bullet comments lost it. What is he, a raccoon? OMG, he's a fluffy little carrion eater, loudly crying face, loudly crying face, loudly crying face. With this kind of pain tolerance, he's going to be successful at anything. He's not eating for flavor, he's eating out of pure spite. Can't win the heroine, so he's snatching the side character. Oh, shut up. He's never even spoken to the heroine. You fools. This is what silent longing looks like. New here. Why is the villain chewing but not swallowing? I turned to Elton. Why are you chewing and chewing but not swallowing? Elton, because it's just so good. I want to savor every bite. He tilted his head back, forced it down, and smiled darkly at Darren. Hope you're free tonight. I'll be waiting. By mid-morning, rumors about me and Elton Wasserman were flying around the school like pollen in spring. Some guy even said we were into some new kind of discipline play. That Elton Wasserman was my rice ball slave. I stepped forward with all the seriousness in the world. There are no slaves in this new era. The two guys exchanged a look, and burst out laughing. I wandered back into the classroom, confused. Elton was hiccuping non-stop, gulping down water. I leaned over. What's discipline play? He choked instantly, nearly spraying the water across the desk. His pale neck flushed bright red as he coughed and stammered. Who told you that? I pointed toward the hallway. He stood and walked out, his face like thunder. Moments later he returned, with the two guys trailing behind, heads down in shame. Discipline just means helping and educating a classmate, they mumbled before bolting out the door. I lit up with understanding. Oh, then I'll keep disciplining you. After a beat, I added, don't worry, I'll switch up the method tomorrow. After all, I'd come to accept that my cooking required rotation. Elton didn't say a word. His entire face turned as red as a cooked chili pepper. He buried his head in his arms with a muffled groan. After a while, I nudged him. Hey, after school, can you not go beat up Darren Gorman? He slowly lifted his head. A flicker of something dark flashed in his eyes. So fast I almost thought I imagined it. You worried about him? What are you talking about? I said. I just don't want you to get into trouble. Thinking of his crush on Lily Whitelock, I softened my voice and offered some practical advice. Beating people up won't get you closer to the girl you like. Think about it. Would anyone choose an unstable hothead over a sweet, scholarly type? He blinked, then fell into deep, serious thought. In the end, Darren Gorman lived to see another day. But I wasn't so lucky. The next morning, I was walking to school half awake, clutching the meat sandwich I'd bought for Elton Wasserman, when I was yanked violently into a nearby alley. A group of girls surrounded me, boxing me into a corner. Their leader had eye-catching red hair and an even more dramatic attitude. She looked me over with two nostrils full of pride. So you're Monica Simmons? I answered cautiously. I'm like Schrodinger's Monica Simmons. Depends. What do you want? She blinked her bright, clearly unburdened by academia eyes. The hell did she just say? She turned to her posse. Is there someone at our school called Schrodinger? Maybe, one girl said. There's a freshman named Shue Ding Bao. Maybe they're related? The group descended into chaotic theorizing. No one had a clue. I smoothly stepped back and tried to sneak away. Too slow. One girl suddenly gasped. Wait, that's Monica Simmons. I saw her get an award on stage last semester. Someone grabbed me by the back of the collar and dragged me back. The red-haired girl was furious now. You sneaky little hick. You dare play games with me? I'm not the kind of person who lets things slide. You're done today, got it? I corrected her calmly. It's holds grudges, not lets things slide. She blinked. I'll call it whatever I want. She jabbed a finger at me. Stay away from Elton Wasserman. If I ever catch you flirting with him again, I'll smack you every time I see you. I thought about the $10 million redemption reward and said seriously. I'm not flirting with him. You slut. You can't live without a man for one. I clamped her mouth shut with my hand, frowning. Ew, girl, shut your stink trap. You smell worse than my village's paralyzed uncle's underpants. Her eyes bulged. Her face flushed red with rage. She shoved me off, lifted her arm high, aiming to slap me. I was faster. I lunged forward and viciously tickled her armpit. Ha 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 ha, what the hell is wrong with you? She shrieked, clamping her arm down tight. Her face twisted in agony. I took the opportunity, ducked my head, and bolted. Turned the corner. And ran straight into something warm, firm, and very fragrant. A chest. A male chest. A familiar chest. My head went duong-duong against a solid chest a few times. I swayed slightly. Elton Wasserman caught me before I could fall. He lowered his gaze and locked eyes with mine. The rebellious wolf cut was gone, replaced with a neatly trimmed style. His school uniform buttoned all the way up, collar sharp and crisp. Silver-rimmed glasses perched on his high-bridged nose. The delinquent had evolved into a cold, clean-cut honor student straight out of a teen drama. My cheeks warmed involuntarily. He looked at the red marks on my face where I'd been grabbed, eyes darkening. Without a word, he pulled me behind him and turned to face the group who had chased me, face stone cold, clearly ready to unleash some fire. But before he could speak, the red-haired girl stared at him, then broke down screaming. Aya, what did you do to yourself? Oh my God, you're so ugly. What was I thinking before? I must have been blind. You're a total turn-off. She clutched her face and ran off sobbing like a freight train. I blinked. Well, I guess everyone has their own taste. Don't take it personally. What about you? A sharp-featured, stunning face suddenly moved in closer. Fast. He bent down, leaning in until our noses were almost touching, eyes glinting with nervous light. Do you think I look good? He was too close. Close enough that I could see the soft baby hairs on his cheeks, smell the faint clean scent on his collar. My heart pounded so fast I thought it might leap out of my throat. I quickly took a step back and forced a casual smile. Exposing your forehead like that? Looks good. Very proper. I turned and walked away, limbs stiff, accidentally matching my hands and feet. Behind me, there was the sound of a wrapper crinkling. I looked up to see Elton expertly unwrapping a rice ball, biting into it without hesitation. Why are you eating my rice ball? He blinked. Ha! Isn't this my reward? Your rice ball is, like, shockingly refreshing, he continued earnestly. I was dead tired last night, then I hiccuped once and bam, wide awake. Ended up grinding through 2 full sets of problems. Note, villain describes the rice ball as refreshing. Villain is really trying to become worthy of the heroine. OMG, this new look is total hot nerd vibes. I'm weaked. I bit into my meat sandwich, listless. For some reason, a faint disappointment crept into my chest. Probably because I didn't get the breakfast I wanted. Yeah, that must be it. During lunch break, Elton refused to nap. Insisted on going downstairs to buy me milk tea himself. 10 minutes later, he returned all smug and glowing, handing me a cup with a straw already poked in. Outwardly getting milk tea for the side character, inwardly hoping to, accidentally, run into the heroine downstairs. Bro is glowing just from talking to her. Villain be like, damn, if I knew this look would get my wife's attention, I would have done it sooner. What's that bag in his hand? Is that a gift from the heroine? Her family's rich. Whatever she gave him is probably expensive. No way a stinky rice ball could compare. Meanwhile, the side character's grinning like an idiot over milk tea. Pathetic. I slowly lowered my straw and glanced at the sleek black gift bag in Elton's hand. He noticed, panicked, and shoved it under the desk with a guilty grin. Can't let you see that. Hee hee. Okay then. Whatever. It's not like I wanted to see it. Still, the 7 parts sugar milk tea tasted bitter and sour on my tongue. Almost to the bottom of the cup, I suddenly jolted upright. Oh no. It wasn't the milk tea that was sour. It was me. That night, I stared at the ceiling, wide-eyed like a fish out of water, flipping and flopping in bed like a doomed pancake. The next day was our weekly quiz. When the scores came out, I stared at my 40-point math paper as if the sky had just collapsed on me. Anyone who disturbs my cultivation deserves the death penalty. After regaining some composure, I made a decision. It was time to activate anti-infatuation mode. Elton Wasserman hadn't gotten into a single fight in weeks. He'd even quit his part-time job so it wouldn't interfere with studying. Every night, he chomped on my black garlic rice balls to stay alert and grinded away at practice tests. Not a hint of darkening. No villain arc in sight. I figured if I just held out until graduation, the system would cough up my 10 million. During night study, he once again leaned toward me, cautiously, like a guilty puppy. I forced myself to harden my heart. Do your homework. First one to speak is a dog. Woof. My pen slipped. I turned my head, and met a pair of pitiful watery eyes. Elton looked at me with a face full of grievance. Why have you been so cold to me lately? I haven't, I said stiffly. The homeroom teacher ghosted in through the back door. If you're not studying, go stand in the hallway. Elton opened his mouth, then quickly shut it under her withering stare. We barely made it to the end of study hall. I packed my things in record time. Bye, deskmate. I'm heading out first. He froze midway through stuffing his books, then called out, flustered. Monica, wait. But I didn't hear him. Or maybe I pretended not to. I marched out like a ghost was chasing me. Elton sat there, stunned, watching my back as it disappeared down the hall. His eyes slowly turned red. I kept my anti-infatuation mode running all the way until the day before winter break. The snow was falling harder. I was almost home when I suddenly felt something. Puff. I stopped, turned abruptly. A flash of light blinked through the bushes. I stood still for a moment, then slowly walked toward it. The bush. Me. You don't find that uncomfortable? The bush. Me. Your glasses are reflecting light. The bush rustled, then fell silent again. He took the glasses off. I sighed, pushed the branches aside. Elton. It's freezing. What are you doing out here? His shoulders were dusted with snow, face buried in his knees. He looked like a very sad mushroom. When he didn't answer, I just squeezed in next to him under the bush, squatting patiently. After a long silence, he slowly reached out, tugged at the hem of my coat. Are you mad at me? He asked in a whisper. Why haven't you talked to me lately? You don't wait for me after class anymore. A tight knot twisted in my chest. I forced a smile. I haven't been ignoring you. Look, I still bring you food every day. We go over problems together. You have. He suddenly looked up, eyes shining with unshed tears, voice trembling. Like a little dog abandoned by its owner. Monica, did I do something wrong? Please just tell me. I'll fix it, I swear. I'll do whatever you say. Please don't push me away. I'm crying. The villain is so pitiful. Abused by his gambling uncle and gaslit into believing he killed his parents. He acts all tough on the outside, but he's fragile as hell. Wait, is he about to betray the heroine now? Dude, the side character was the first one to be kind to him. It makes sense he'd get attached. Who says he has to like the heroine? So he's into this weird food-obsessed hick now? He likes her. I swear to God if I'm wrong I'll eat a sock. It's not just dependence. Wake up, da. My heart ached. I forced a smile, tried to comfort him. Then saw him pull something from his bag. A very familiar black paper bag. Elton Wasserman rubbed his frozen reddened hands together, warming his palms with friction before carefully pulling a scarf from the bag and gently wrapping it around my neck. The fabric was soft and warm against my skin, still holding the crisp, clean scent of his fingertips. I looked down, dazed, my eyes landing on the little embroidered puppy near the edge of the scarf. And then it hit me. About a month ago, the girl who sat in front of me had held up her phone, asking for help picking out a scarf. I didn't know brands, so I just pointed to one I thought looked nice. She had lit up, saying it was the same model worn by a trendy celebrity. Expensive. Always sold out. Elton had looked over back then, barely sparing a glance, saying nothing. And in the days after, he had suddenly started falling asleep in class again. My heart fluttered with a faint, aching itch. Did that mean he went back to working nights? Just to buy me this scarf? I had someone help me get it, he said, voice dry, trying his best to smile. I was planning to give it to you for your birthday. In 2 days. But now. He trailed off. Then stood abruptly and turned to leave, stumbling over his own steps like he couldn't get away fast enough. Happy birthday, Monica, he said as he fled. He didn't wait for my response. He's going home to his doom. His uncle can't pay off his gambling debts, so tonight he's handing Elton over to the loan sharks. They're probably waiting at his place already. Poor guy gets beat within an inch of his life. Loses his nails. Drops out of school. Becomes a thug to pay off the debt. Never recovers. What's worse is that if he just waited a few more days, his uncle would have gotten scammed into a tech job in northern Myanmar. Destiny is brutal. Well, that's the tragedy of a villain. He has to suffer, right? Just so he can become a stepping stone for the leads later. That's his narrative role. Wow. Who hurt you, bro? I watched his silhouette shrink in the wind and snow, inching further and further away, until the streetlight no longer touched him and he faded into the shadows. Panic surged in my chest. Before my brain could even catch up, my body had already moved. Racing after him. Just before he stepped into the dark, empty alleyway, I grabbed his wrist and pulled him back. Elton Wasserman, I said breathlessly. Spend the new year with me. The world fell silent. He looked at me, eyes wide, a flicker of fragile hope slowly brightening inside them. What did you say? His voice was barely audible, like he was afraid this was just a dream that would shatter if he breathed too hard. I said. I looked him straight in the eye. I'm taking you home. But why? Because, I said softly, when people are hurt, they should go home. That's what home is for. I loosened the scarf from my neck, wrapped one end around his pale, icy throat, and knotted us together firm and warm. We'll spend the new year together. We'll study together. Stick close like this. That way we'll both stay warm. Snow fell in sheets, endless and soft, as if it planned to keep falling for a lifetime. Elton stared at me, unmoving. His long lashes trembled, damp, on the verge of tears. Sobbing. The side character is too pure, too kind. They're both such soft little beans. With a magician's flair, I pulled a vibrant green rice ball from my pocket and held it up to his mouth. You must be hungry. Eat. Once you're done, we'll be home. He took a huge bite. I grinned. Good. He smiled back, eyes shining. Yeah. Really good. Okay, but don't bite my fingers while you're at it. Ah, sorry. Let me kiss it better. The way he looks at her. My God, it's like melted sugar. Bro wants to kiss that hand, and not just to blow on it. He's practically choking on that scarf but won't untie it, just to stay close to her. I'm crying. But wait. What about the heroine? What about her? Give her a nice party and let her eat a stinky rice ball in peace. Let this man be loved. Damn it. Why does the villain have to end up dead in the Pacific just to satisfy you people? Let him be happy. He's got the same weird food addiction now. What did the side character even put in those rice balls to hook him this bad? Love. She added love. Corny, homemade, clumsy, but warm, real loved. When we got home, I asked Elton Wasserman to rest in my room for a bit. Meanwhile, I quietly pulled my parents aside and explained what had happened. My mom slammed her hand on the table, livid. That old gambling bastard. Owes a mountain of debt and sells out his own nephew like some damn pawn? He's always treated that child like a tool. Keep it down, my dad said. You'll wake him. Mom tiptoed over to the bedroom door and peeked through the crack. Inside, Elton was curled up in his sleep, brows scrunched tightly, mumbling through soft whimpers as he called out for his mother. Tears welled in my mom's eyes. She turned back instantly, determined. I'm making him something warm to eat right now. My dad quickly stopped her. No, let me. I'll handle it. I was at the table, hunched over my homework, scribbling away. Half an hour later, Dad came out with 2 bowls of noodles and gently called Elton to wake him. He sat up groggily, took one bite, and immediately started slurping away like a kid, eyes squinting in pure bliss from the warmth and flavor. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you, Uncle. Thank you, Monica, he said politely, holding his bowl with both hands as he headed off to rinse it in the kitchen. The next morning, my parents went to work early. Elton was up even earlier. He reheated my breakfast, cleaned the house top to bottom, and was currently in the bedroom, standing on a stool and taking down the curtains for washing. That's when Darren Gorman arrived. He came holding gift boxes, all smiles. Our families had been friends for years, and whatever was going on between us, I figured, well, parents shouldn't get dragged into it. So I let him in. He looked around the shoe rack. Momo, where are my slippers? I was in the kitchen watching the soup boil and snapped back without looking. Just wear whatever's there. A moment later. Crash. Bang. Clatter. I bolted out in a panic. And there was Elton, sitting on the living room floor, face pale and helpless. Darren was trembling with rage, voice raised. Monica, you seriously let this guy wear my slippers? What is your problem? I frowned and helped Elton to his feet. He latched onto my wrist as he stood, sniffling softly. A mist began to gather behind his dark lashes. I'm sorry, Monica. It was my fault. Please don't argue with him because of me. He turned to Darren, looking heartbroken. I'm sorry. I know I don't deserve them. Please don't hit me. Darren blinked. What? Don't act like you didn't hear, Elton continued, voice trembling. You didn't hit me, of course not. It was all my fault. I tripped and tried to frame you. Is that what I'm supposed to say, big boss? Darren's face twisted in disbelief. He grabbed a cup and threw water straight at Elton. You shameless fox. Playing victim now? What happened to all that arrogance from 5 minutes ago? Elton gasped as the cold water hit him. He collapsed back onto the floor, head tilted slightly up. Sunlight poured in from the window, casting a soft glow along the curve of his jaw. Water clung to his skin, his damp lashes trembling like butterfly wings. He looked like a painting, like a dewy lotus blooming straight out of a snowstorm. My heart twisted in pain. I crouched beside him, gently dabbing his face with a towel. Then stood up and kicked Darren Gorman right in the backside. What the hell is wrong with you? Who gave you the right to touch him? Darren clutched his butt, fuming. Are you blind? He's staging his own drama, lighting himself like it's a photo shoot. He flipped me off, Monica. He said, and I quote, Yeah, I wore your slippers. Come hit me, big boy, I dare you. Then he threw himself to the ground and started acting like I'd assaulted him. Monica Simmons, we grew up together. Tell me right now, do you believe me or him? Elton clung to my waist, tears in his eyes, nose red, voice soft. I didn't. I turned to Darren. He says he didn't. Darren's mouth opened and closed. His face turned white with rage. Men. Some men really have no shame. That's enough. I snapped. Elton Wasserman is a pure-hearted boy. He's only 18. Do you really think he knows how to lie like that? Get out. Darren Gorman clenched his fists, his chest heaving with fury. Then he threw his head back with a strangled roar and stormed out, slamming the door behind him. Elton Wasserman tugged at my sleeve, sniffling softly. Why was he so scary? Sniff, I'm scared of bad people. I wiped his tears with gentle care. No more being scared, I cooed. We'll do 2 sets of math problems to calm down, okay? Elton's uncle never showed up again. It wasn't until much later that he got a call from the police. Apparently, the man had tried to evade Border Patrol, slipped, and drowned in a river. By the time the news reached us, finals were already over. I performed just like I always did, steady as an old dog. Once the exam results were in, I cashed in my system reward and took my parents on a long, well-earned vacation. Elton, on the other hand, was too anxious to leave. Insisted on staying behind to work part-time. He bombarded me with messages every day. Lunch was good today, but I still miss the rice balls you and Auntie made. As a kitten on the street that barked. Like, woof barked. What kind of glitchy cat is that? Cut my finger while cooking. Hurts like hell. Wanna see? Post-shower abs pic.jpg. 2 minutes later. I sent it by accident. I'm so dumb, can't unsend it. Don't look. 3. 5 minutes after that. Signal bad? Didn't get it. Post-shower abs pic.jpg. Post-shower abs pic.jpg. Wah, Monica, why won't you reply to me? I blinked awake in the luxurious king-sized bed of our vacation hotel suite, scrolling through the messages with a lazy smile. Not bad. Want a reward for that? I texted back. I was rich now, after all, a mini heiress in my own right. But he didn't respond right away. A long pause. Then suddenly, my phone rang. Monica,